a lot of parents lie to their kids. Like,
Oh
oh,
gosh.
you're the best at this and you're the best. Well, they know you're lying. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not the best at this. And again, it create because you're trying so hard to create self-esteem in them, not recognizing that you're actually harming them by being
Yes.
like, yeah, you're not the best.
Yes.
But, what's your input? What are you doing to become better?
Hi, I'm Jen.
Hey, I'm Suzanne.
Today we are talking about that feeling of not being good enough. And it expresses itself in different ways, but ultimately just feeling like you're not good enough for, I don't know, women. Let's just talk about us. We're always worried that we're not good enough to be moms. We're not good enough at being a mom. We're not good enough at work. We're not showing up enough with our friends. We're not being a good friend. We're, comparing our bodies to other people. Like, basically, we just live in this place of not feeling good enough, but it just, I guess, expresses itself in different ways.
Yeah.
I know we've talked a lot about it on the podcast. Do you feel like it still shows, like, even though you're further along on your healing journey, do you feel like it still really shows up for you?
Oh, absolutely. Like,
Yeah.
what's the thief comparison is the thief of joy. I think actually one of my biggest healing journey points has been the recognition that I compare myself to everyone and their success is what I measure my gold star chasing by. So what I'm trying to do now is to just be like, you're enough. Just who you are. You are enough.
Yeah.
Just who you are. But comparison is something I've thrived on for a long time. It was the ideal. So not being good enough, absolutely.
Yeah. And I think for you, it's like, and I wanted to talk because Suzanne and I always have this, like, we've understand that like we work totally different. And so I always love adding in our own perspective. So like she was saying, like her not being good enough is because she set, oh, this person's here, i.e.,
Yeah.
that's the bar. And if I'm not there, then I'm not good enough, hence Gold Star Chaser. And then there's me, and I'm always looking at it from like a place of connection. And if I don't have as many friends, I mean, I still have a lot of gold chase. Don't get me wrong. I have a lot of gold star chaser in me. Like but I want to be liked more than I want to be the best at things. Would you say that's
Mm,
pretty accurate?
yes. Yes. And I want
Yes.
to be good at things more than I care about being liked, for sure.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And we're trying to
it
both
just,
find the middle
yeah.
ground between that. Yes.
Yes, yeah, there's a place for both of them, but there's definitely not a place for comparison. And I
Yeah.
think what we don't realize is like we're constantly struggling with that, whether we realize it or not. It just shows up as different stories we tell ourselves.
Yep.
And I feel like it kind of goes unnoticed a lot of times for us because our focus is possibly on our kids, right? And so we just look at it as the stories we tell ourselves, right? Like, oh, that's just the way it is. Like, I'm not going to get that position at work because X, Y, Z. Or I'm not as good as this mom because her parties look like, right out of a Pinterest,
Sure.
board, right? And you're just like, oh, well, I don't throw those kinds of parties for my kids because I'm just like not creative, right? And that's what I mean by like stories we tell ourselves. And then we have our kids, and it shows up very differently in our kids because their whole world is usually friends, grades, like school, and then sports or activities like theater, whatever, the arts or sports, I like to say. And so
Sure.
for them, I feel like it's easier for us to see that they're not good enough, and we want to like rush in and tell them like, yes, you're good enough. Yes, you're amazing. And we're so hyper focused on proving to them what we think that we don't teach them the actual art of understanding how to get over not feeling good enough, like to how to like discover it and shift your perspective, like we always say the DSD, like get to the place where you can figure it out for yourself, because we're just feeling like our little mama bear and we're like, no, you're the best, baby, you're the best. Do you feel like you tend to do that as well, like if you're now looking back? Or
100%. And I
like,
also
yeah,
think that, like we've talked about with kids, youth sports, and
Yeah. Oh,
grades
geez.
doesn't
Yes.
matter what it is, but we definitely foresee ourselves and then our value and whether we're good enough in the success of our kids. So it's not even
Yeah.
just them and their own belief, but it's also our belief in whether we're
Trickles
good enough.
down.
So yeah, it all just trickles down. And I also think that one of the things that I've learned that is so important is like we want to be the mama bear, like you were just saying, but a lot of parents lie to their kids. Like,
Oh
oh,
gosh.
you're the best at this and you're the best. Well, they know you're lying. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not the best at this. And again, it create because you're trying so hard to create self-esteem in them, not recognizing that you're actually harming them by being like,
Yes.
yeah, you're not the best.
Yes.
But, what's your input? What are you doing to become better? So, but I will let
Mhm.
you continue. But yes, absolutely, I
Yes.
see that.
Oh, I know. So I think this is such a great episode, and of course we'll have many more on it. And it's another thing that I think is invisible. I
Yeah.
always talk about how things are invisible, and we don't realize how much we're struggling with not being good enough. And then we don't realize how much our kids are struggling with being good enough. And then they try to express it to us. And then it's like we just like jump in and we're like, no, we either lie to them, which then causes them not to trust us. So now, no matter what we say, they don't believe you. And
Yep.
I know that's hard for these parents to hear, but you are ruining your trust by
Yep.
telling something to them that is not true, even though you mean it from a good place in your heart. The
Sure.
other thing is you're just telling them that is not parenting. You
Yeah.
have to teach them. And so until you can start to figure out, it starts with you, you need to figure out how to address not feeling good enough
Well, and I
wherever it
think
is.
yeah, and I think having like that methodology, like our
Yes.
DSE, where
Yeah.
you can actually, so I've started talking to the kids like, hey,
Yeah.
first you got to discover it. Like, is it show, like, how's it showing up? Like, where is it
Yes.
showing up? And then once it does show up, so it's like, I think what you're saying is like, let's just take it. It's like when someone tells you what to do and you're like, okay, but now what?
Yeah.
Like, what does this mean? Like, how do I
Yeah.
move forward from here?
Yes.
And those are two very, very different things. And I think
Very different
one
things.
of your favorites, it's a blind spot for us. It's
Yeah.
invisible. It's a blind spot.
Totally. Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think if we don't know how to fix it for ourselves or how to shift the perspective and empower ourselves, then how are we going to teach that to our kids? And so I think a lot of times we just want to fix it, right? We don't want them to feel uncomfortable. We don't want to tell them that they're not the best, but that's just like not reality. And hey, guess what? At some point, you're not going to be around. And so they're going to find other people to tell them they're the best, but it isn't fixing the problem. So
Yeah.
going back to moms or dads, because we found out we have 32% men viewership, I will just add that little in there. Hey, boys.
Shout out to anyone listening. We love it. Thank you.
Shout out to the men folk. What you need to
Wait, can I
do.
just say though that
Yes.
the one dad said to me, he was like, I love listening to your guys' podcast because it gives me insight into my wife without me being the one in trouble. It's like, I love this. Yes.
I love that. Yeah. So just so you know, your husbands might actually learn a thing or two. So maybe float it by them as something they could listen to or a specific episode you want them to listen to.
Yeah.
Like this one. I think this applies to everyone. I know it applies to everyone. The feeling of not being good enough. So if you're faith-based, then you know that you are already enough because God puts you on this earth for a purpose. And so you have a purpose, you are enough, you are unique, you are meant to do things. And that alone already told you you're good enough. Just that.
Yep.
But to further reinforce it, you have to think to yourself, like discover, right? So, like, okay, why am I having these feelings? Where is this coming from? Am I comparing myself to somebody else? Am I comparing myself to what society says? Am I comparing myself to my friend, to what my husband thinks I should be, to what, right? Like my parents, like, or just some obscure, like you and I are like, where did that even come from? It's
Sure.
some belief that you brought from your childhood. And most of the times, the things we bring from our childhood or things we've learned along the way with friends and different situations shape how we show up. And then we decide we're not good enough. We didn't get invited to the party. We're not good enough. We didn't get the promotion. We're not good enough. I don't have as many friends as Suzanne. I'm not good enough. I didn't get invited to I don't know, the happy hour. I'm not good enough. I mean, it's constantly coming. Then you get on social media and
Mhm.
everyone looks perfect and it's their highlight reels and, off on this vacation and like, oh, we could never afford this vacation. And does that make me a bad person because I don't earn enough money? And it's like, I don't mean to go on a rant, but we all know that's
Yeah.
what's going on in our head.
Yep.
And it's subliminal or it's in your face. It's both. So just
Yep.
like, don't shame yourself for it. Everybody's
Yeah.
thinking it.
Well,
And I think that's the most important thing.
and I think social media is a whole other beast that we're all
Yeah.
learning to deal with because we are essentially the
Yes.
first generation dealing with parenting in this
Yes.
regard as well. And so, like, we
Yes.
all know that person who posts about their fabulous life and their amazing
Mhm.
husband and all the things.
Mhm.
And then you actually know the person behind it. And you're like,
Mhm.
that is very procured, created life there. That's an interesting way.
It's
And then
very
you
curated.
realize,
Yes.
yes. And then you realize, like, our kids are hearing this, like, and
Yes.
they don't have some of the experience that we
No.
have. And so
Right.
that's all they're hearing, like, especially like both my boys are into sports and my oldest is getting into, he plays football and he sees all these highlight reels of people and what they
Mhm.
do and the girls they're with and the clothes they wear and the
Oh, yeah.
taunting and like things like that. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like, let's have a
Mhm.
conversation about what this means because it's a constant, like, oh, well, I don't have those clothes and I don't have that skill and I don't have that. So I'm constantly like reinforcing kind of what we had talked about in a prior episode about when you keep saying, I'm sorry for things, it's telling
Yeah.
your brain that you're making a mistake and failing over and over. Well, social media is telling both us and our children, you're failing over and over again because you don't have all of these things. So
You
I
don't
think that
compare.
that you don't compare. And so it's like,
Mhm.
okay, am I enough? And telling your kids, like, you are enough regardless if you get an A. You're enough
Yes.
regardless if you start. You're enough regardless of, like, you're unique in the way you look. Like,
Yes.
we're so lucky
Everything.
that you're here. We're so lucky that we have you. And
Yes.
but I agree, like, it starts with us because if we don't see it ourselves, if we can't discover it and then shift our own perspective or at least be aware of it. I mean, that's the whole point of our
Yeah.
podcast is we're
Yes.
putting it out there and being like, hey,
Yes.
we're on our journey. Like, we're not healed. We're not fully
Yes.
healed versions of
No.
ourselves. Like,
We're making
it's an
mistakes.
yeah, it's like an onion, right? And
Yeah.
one of the gals at I think from your freedom class was saying, like,
Yeah.
hey, it's an onion. So shout out to her. Like,
Yes.
and so it's this process of if we don't, and also telling our kids that and being like, hey, I tell my kids all the time, like, oh man, I'm having crazy thoughts right now.
Mhm.
I feel like, I'm not far enough here. Like, I don't look the right way. I don't have like stepping out into a bathing suit,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, my stomach's too big. It's this, it's that. Well, what am I telling my own kids about their body image?
Exactly.
Instead, now I walk out and I'm like, sweet, look at this new bathing suit I got. Like, yeah,
Mhm.
I'm feeling a little uncomfortable right now, but you know what? Like, that's okay. It's okay to feel uncomfortable because I'm so lucky that I can wear this bathing suit and
Mhm.
go to the beach today.
Yes.
And that is such a different perspective, right? And that doesn't even address like daughters and all the other things that go along with body
Oh
image, but
my
like that
gosh.
was one
Yes.
that just recently came up
Yes,
for me.
absolutely. And that is exactly what the takeaway is that you have to take ownership of walking yourself through your own not feeling good enough. And I would say 100%, it's always going to come down to comparison. At the end of
Yeah.
every road of every not feeling good enough is comparison. And so if you find yourself not feeling good enough, figure out where the comparison's coming from and eradicate it. And while you're doing that, if it's appropriate, tell your kids about it. Like walk through that with your
Yeah.
kids. Like you just said, I felt like this. And then I shifted my perspective and I realized I was comparing myself and I'm uniquely created and I am loved and I'm supposed to be here. And, if you just keep saying that over and over to your kids, they can see that you're going through it. It's not just them. And then you're helping them. So then when they're not feeling good enough, instead of jumping in and being like, you're just amazing, whatever, you're saying, like, hey, where is this coming from? Right. And then helping them find where they're comparing themselves to somewhere else. And then, like we always say, are you comparing somebody else's chapter 100 to your chapter one? Like,
Sure.
come on, that's not a true comparison. And then just speaking into their identity, like you are loved and you are special and you have your own gifts and talents, and all of that is so important. And then, like we always say, lead with your actions and your feelings will follow,
Yeah.
because sometimes we just don't feel good enough. And even when we identify it and we shift our perspective, you're still like, oh, but it's just so hard. Like I'm feeling just not good enough, right? Like even though
Yeah.
you just have to step into the I am good enough and your feelings will follow.
Yeah. And I would tag on to that. Like, that might seem like a lot, friend who's listening right now. Like, that may seem
Hmm.
way too overwhelming. So, where
Yeah.
I would say maybe to start, especially with your kids and yourself, is giving you the language comparison. Saying when your
Yeah.
kid says, I'm not enough, or this guy's better, hey, what are you comparing it to? Like, who are you
Yes.
comparing yourself to? Like, start just using the language, because just like we say here, until you discover that that thought's even there,
Hmm.
you can't change it. They can't change
Absolutely.
it. So just start
Absolutely.
with giving them the language in yourself. Like, who am I comparing myself to?
Yeah.
What's the comparison that's occurring? I think that that's really
Yes.
important. And so I think as we wrap it up here, that also ask yourself, like, who am I comparing myself to, like, today? Because I guarantee that you have compared yourself to someone else today, to someone else's actions, to someone else's body, to someone else's life.
Hmm.
Just be aware of it.
Yeah.
Okay?
It's little
Just
things. Yes.
pay attention. All right? So, well, that's it for today.
We hope you discovered something in my story.
See you next time. Same place, same sisterhood. Bye.